But I'm really hoping that California brings their A game today, because they have definitely got an uphill climb, it seems, against Washington, with, like you said, the precedent being that series back in week 5 where they got 3-0'd by Washington. And the fact that California, they're playing in this match thanks to a Colorado forfeit. They got through the quarterfinals thanks to Colorado not moving in, and they put up a good fight in the semifinals matchup when they played against CAVA, who we'll see next week playing Indiana in the grand finals. But that was an 0-4 right there, and Washington's part of kind of that elite company in the Central Western region of top 4 squads that is a step above everybody else. But we'll see what California can do against their Pacific opponents as we get into the series.
Hey, sir. So I don't know what to say. There was a player that was not moving. I'm very confused. Right there we can see Inception in the background. Are we good on the servers? Is someone lagging? I'm scared. Mom, come pick me up.
Inception is back and is feeling okay. I think whatever happened right there, the sleep paralysis that they had inflicted upon them at the start, it's over, and Washington will start a goal down as a result of that. Nice punish, off kickoff. You put shots on target, sometimes good things happen.
It happens. I was gonna say GG go next. It's not GG just quite yet. It's just go next, I guess. And next, as it turns out, is a good attempt from California, trying to get the demo there, trying to get those attacking plays going. Of course, they have this 1-0 lead, but we all know one goal is a very, very small lead. It's very fickle, could change at any moment, but they are going for the second and potentially a third, a fourth, however many they can get. Washington, though, they have shown good things as well. You see the shot there from Harun Boone. They had another good opportunity earlier, and they're definitely not out of this despite being down.
No, they're not. If they lose this game 1-0, then we are seeing a very different Washington team than I've gotten the privilege of watching the last 2 seasons of Stride Esports Rocket League. They can hit hard, and they nearly did right there. Inception trying to follow it up, but same spot on the backboard. Thwarts the offensive twice and keeps Washington out of the back of the nets. In California, they find it clear. They get out, and they survive for now.
And they survive, and they might score right here. The shot from Action Jackson was almost there. The pass, I believe, from Jolton, sorry, I don't know why my pronunciation messed up. Messed up was this attempt from Washington to try to get an attack. It wasn't quite there, and now the counter attack. The opportunity from Ayen. Almost there, almost in, but still not quite finding the net. The first few seconds, the first minute even, was very much filled with opportunities for both teams. It seemed like we were going to see a high-scoring game, but like you said, maybe these will just end 1-0 with that curious goal that we had at the beginning.
Washington continues their attack, though. They don't want it to end 1-0. It'd be a loss for them. And with that cut, Inception denied by Yan, who's able to snuff out a couple of decent looks for Washington, who have maintained solid possession since their early concession, though that's not without a little bit of defense there on the goal line. Harun Boone, that's a save, finds a clear, maybe a shot as well. No, again, Jan in the middle of the play, tossing themselves into the center of the action. That leads to a bounce possession at the midfield line that Washington will win for now. So Harun Boone steps up, puts the ball to the back wall, but who's there again? Jan, prepared to deal with whatever Washington throwing their way.
And this defense is very solid from California. The passing play almost there in the air looked like a double commit, but you can tell the communication was there. The order was given to try to sort of take off the ball of their teammates. Unfortunately, it was just a little too far away, and now it's back onto California's offensive play. Action Jackson almost found that shot. Now it's Ayan that's going to go up in the air, but it's just going to give the ball off to Harun Boone. The rotation looks to be on point for both teams. Very equal right now. It's probably going to go down to the very last seconds. Like the previous series, it was very close, and there it is, Harun Boone getting the equalizer for Washington off an individual play. You look at that rebound, just perfect.
That was a gorgeous shot, dot on target, and even with 2 defenders on the goal line, California still couldn't get the block, and there it is. Washington finally striking back after giving up that early goal, and that's more of what I was expecting out of both these sides, really. A back and forth affair as Jan and Harun Boone try and lead their teams to success here in the third place consolation match. 60 seconds left, and Washington trying to continue the attack that they left off on after scoring and resetting the ball into the center circle. Inception, hard shot wide. Harun Boone dives in to make it a bit tougher for the defense to dissuade, but it's successful for California. They find a clear, and they'll be able to get back in offense for about half a second.
Yeah, Jolteon coming in with a clutch save, and Harun Boone almost doubling up his count. And I wanted to mention this offense from Washington. It started off slow, of course. I just can't stop mentioning that one goal when Inception was not moving, but they have been the leading team on offense for the past minute, 2 minutes or so. It's just a matter of time, it feels like, until the goal comes down. However, there are still about 15 seconds to go in regulation, and maybe these last opportunities for California are going to be the ones that prevent us from going into overtime, but the clock is ticking and the offense is into the orange half. Who is going to come out on top? Action Jackson is going to go for the aerial, running out of boosts. It's going to drop. We go into overtime already for game number 1.
Okay, so both series have had very tight OT caliber games today, both series rather. And this is just one of many overtimes we've seen on this broadcast. See how long it lasts. We've seen 2-minute, 3-minute, seen 9-second overtimes. And with Washington, as much pressure as they've got, I would peg them as the favorites to get that initial goal. Someone's going to get back, so I'm proven wrong, at least for now, as California, they've got the firepower, but it's been a while since they've scored. They've got to find an opening soon if they want to take game 1.
Yeah, that was a very dangerous situation that California put themselves in with that save almost not coming in, the triple commit. It ended up working out, but still is Washington in control. Like you mentioned, I think they're the prime candidates to win this overtime. They've had a lot of offensive prowess, but now California have the chance to reset, to go at it again. That's what ending a game tied up will give you. No goals on 0 seconds means it's almost a full reset. It's almost as if you are starting a new game. At least that's the mentality that I always try to have when I'm coaching players as well. Like, this is just a completely new series. Forget about everything, and that's exactly what California have been doing here. Now the question is, are they going to be able to find the goal? Because the defense from Washington is very strong too.
Yeah, on a soft touch, got Jolteon to jump, but puts Jolteon in a great position to recover and find a stronger clear. Washington again with strong will at the midfield line, not really breaking too often there. Once they get control of offensive possession, it's tough to take it from them. And here, still fighting for it. Inception takes it away, keeps it on the ground, and wins game 1. Just like that from midfield line, Washington will lead the series first.
What a curious goal right there for Inception. Goes for a very premature, almost ground pinch, if you will. It was not quite what you'd think of when you hear the word pinch. You know, you're thinking about 100 kph banger that just slots, that just zooms on underneath the crossbar. This one was very soft, very slow, but still gets it past Jolteon. It gets the overtime win for Washington. We talked about it in the previous series. As long as it goes in, as long as it goes up on the scoreboard, it counts. And now momentum is on the side of Washington. The question is, how is game 2 going to go? Are we going to see something similar to the previous series where both teams trade blows? Or is momentum going to be a bigger factor for Washington than it was for our previous teams? What do you think, Bepik?
That's a good question. I don't know, because I tried to predict last series how the next game was going to go, and it went back and forth until game 7. So I'll just have to watch and find out, because Washington, they looked like the team that could run away with games in this series, the amount of possession that they were able to claim for themselves. But there have been openings on the goal line of Washington right there, almost conceding one, but they might have just scored what they do. Inception turns a near concession into the opening goal for Washington.
That is heartbreaking. I believe it was Action Jackson that stopped Jolteon's shot, or the other way around. That could have been an early goal for California. Instead, it's going to be Washington claiming the lead. And after having California be in the lead for so long, then being on the receiving end of the comeback, now they start off slow. It seems more and more like Washington are that team, like you said, that are able to run away with series, that are able to run away with games, that maybe could culminate in them taking the series. I don't want to say in a sweep, because look at that, California, they have the power to fight back. Yan is going to get the equalizer still inside the first minute.
And that's exactly what the doctor ordered for California, because they haven't scored since that goal where Inception was stagnant. It wasn't moving. It was basically a 2v3 situation in which they got their goal. So finding that one is a huge sigh of relief for California fans. And it's Jan as well starting to wake up a little bit in the offensive end. They've been a force to be reckoned with in defense for California, but their offense has left a little bit on the board, at least in game one. But here we go again. Jan taking a pot shot at that blue net and denied by Harun Boone. But California reinvigorated, it seems, pushing the envelope in offense. We'll see what they'll get as a result of that.
Well, I'll tell you what they're gonna get. They're gonna get a second goal for Jan. Great pass by Action Jackson. It looked like it was a bit too far, but it was all planned. The bounce gets past two defenders. Dead Knight Inception. Nothing that they can do about that one. We saw the comeback from Washington in game number one. They're gonna have to do it again after California have mounted a little comeback of their own here in the first couple of minutes. For even less than a minute and a half. It seems like we've been playing forever, and it's been barely 90 seconds. I mean, isn't that amazing? This is the kind of series that everyone dreams about, that everyone wants to see, and now Inception almost gets the third goal of the series, but it's just right off the post, and still Washington stay behind by one goal.
They're still pressing, though. Harun Boone going to keep them with agency in offense with that slow flip reset air dribble play. And Inception going to keep them in a similar spot with a win at the midfield line. Jan tries to slow things down as best they can, but WAVA going corner to corner, circling like sharks around the California net, hunting the tie game two that put them right back in this thing. But the defense unrelenting. They withstand that small bout of pressure, and California find a way out. A chance there for Jan, stuffed by Harun Boone.
Yeah, the fact that California have been able to stay so strong on defense, and they have had such a prolific offense. I mean, with the passing plays and everything, it seems like they just can do no wrong. Of course, they have conceded goals, and they did lose that game number one, but they look revitalized, and it's only going to take a shot like that from Harun Boone to topple them, but not even that is going to be able to get it in. Maybe Dead Knight, no! Still doesn't go in. For some reason, WAVA are just not finding it. California, just that tiny bit too strong, and time keeps ticking down. Now the passing play attempt, triple commit. Action Jackson gonna be the one credited with the save. CAVA still holding on strong, and this is exactly what they needed after that overtime. The individual play from Action Jackson. Yan maybe looking for the hot trick here in game number two. Not gonna happen quite yet, but it could have very well happened in this minute and 45 that we have left.
Action Jackson has been insane this game too. In defense, so many clutch saves. They've got 3 to their name, but 2 were incredibly difficult where they had to maneuver their car into a tricky spot to get the block. And then in offense, looking just as solid, forcing a tough block out of Harun Boone, who will be down the field to receive that from Inception. WAVA still looking for the equalizer, and Inception might have just found it. It's Dead Knight that ends up putting it home, but what a dunk by Inception to lay that ball in front of Dead Knight to finish.
You took the words right out of my mouth. What a dunk. That's the only possible definition for that play. Great assist from Inception, really being that tip of the spear in terms of the attack. Dead Knight always going to be there to tap those in against no defenders. And now Washington, if they were revitalized on the side of California before, the new energies that are coming in for WAVA are certainly going to be very interesting to see what they can do with them. With 60 seconds on the clock, there we have the announcer shouting it out loud, the message coming in on our screen. But what remains to be seen is who is going to be the next player to have their name displayed with a beautiful word after saying someone scored. It will be the go-ahead goal. Now, it could be in regulation, could be in overtime. We don't know just yet. They're going into the last 30 seconds of the game. It seems like the momentum is once again on the blue side of Washington.
Inception, almost another immaculate play. Still looking for one. Maybe the doink, maybe the double tap. Neither works out. Washington, though, with field domination sitting around 65%, which means we've spent 65% of the game in the orange half. California's been on their back foot, but they're still tied, and that's what matters. Action Jackson jumps as well as jolting on that net's open. Inception, a slow falling shot that works because no one's home. Washington find the lead with 7 left and might have just stolen game 2.
Always there for Inception when they need them the most. It was in overtime in game number 1. Is here with 7 seconds to go in game number 2. This actually reminds me of game number 2 of our previous series, the equalizer. It was in this case, sorry, the first goal of the comeback we saw in game number 2 came in at 7 seconds remaining. In this case, it's going to be the winner from Inception. That's going to come in at 7 seconds remaining. Now WAVA with that 2-0 lead in this series, coming back from behind. We're going to see Dead Knight leave the lobby. You wonder, probably for a change of car, I wouldn't think a substitution is in order here, but who knows? We'll have to wait just a little bit to figure out what's happening. But look at that. 7 shots from Inception, 5 from Harun Boone, completely outshot CAVA. I mean, the whole team of California had the same shots as Inception alone.
Yeah, Inception was playing a heck of a game. I mean, their control behind the ball stood out to me. And Washington as well. I talk about field domination being an important statistic, how much of the game we play on one team's side of the pitch. But there's also a stat that I get on my little stat board that tells me how long the ball spent after being touched by a specific team. And Washington spent 65% of the game, about the same as the amount of time they spent on the orange half, after just having touched the ball, which means they control possession so well with those air dribbles, those flip resets that are slow to develop, but you're exercising control that your opponent doesn't have. And Washington used that to their advantage, and they had a lot of behind the ball action that you don't typically see out of a team at this level of Rocket League. So look out for that. Look at those slow to develop plays where Washington have to utilize their mechanics to create from. And with Shoko subbing in for Dead Knight, I think that's going to increase by a significant margin here.
Yeah, and we saw the immediate impact that the sub had, almost netting Washington a goal. We had Mystic in the previous series. It's now Shoko. It seems like the super sub strategy is working out pretty well in both the regions today, but it's a bit too early to call it here in game number 3. Of course, Washington in the lead, the 2-0 of the series. Inception now trying to go for yet another goal. The soft touch is going to go to Harun Boone, but not quite able to get it off the side of the field. I don't know. I never know whether to call it a backboard or not, but I do know what to call that. It's the back of the net, and is the first goal for Harun Boone in game number 3.
Oh, that's so weird if you're Action Jackson trying to read where that ball is going. Coming out of it was a chaotic scrum in that corner, and they unfortunately made the wrong decision. Almost found the save off the crossbar, which would have been insane considering the reaction time you had to make a block like that, but couldn't get it. And Washington grab an early lead, almost adding to it there. I think the shot was off, but regardless, Jackson going to put it even further out of danger, so there's no easy passing plays across the orange box. And defense not playing too terribly poorly for California, only conceding just 1 in the first 90 seconds, despite again being penned back in their half for so long.
And we saw the strategy of holding on strong in the defense in game number 1, but ended up not working out for them. And, you know, that whole strategy, I think, is based on the fact that eventually you're going to be able to come out, your offense is going to be on point. The main problem is that they're just not being able to get that step. They're not being able to get out of their own half, and so they are getting no chances to score. I mean, Action Jackson with that long clear that gets in front of the box forces Inception to go up. Pretty much the only thing they've had going for them in almost half the game. And if it was in game number 1 or number 2, sorry, in the beginning, that it seemed like time was passing so slowly, in this one it's going by so fast, and Harun Boone is even faster, getting the aerial goal, doubling up the lead for WAVA. And this is getting harder and harder, the uphill battle that California are having to fight. It seems like it's never ending.
No, especially with those, again, slow to develop aerial plays that Washington keep employing in offense to great success. I mean, that was a pretty display of mechanical ability. We know Harun Boone spends his time in free play training those kinds of mechanics, and it's showing up in a big moment, a pivotal game 3 in a best of 7 with 3rd place in the Central Western region on the line. That's a huge goal for Harun Boone to find for their team. The captain stepping up big in game 3, and now California really have to get going offensively now. 2 minutes left, 2 goals not out of the question, but big saves keep being made. They need to turn that into big goals here.
Definitely, and they need to do it fast. But with the way Washington have been playing, it does not look like it, although a shot from Jan with that preset change going on to the sweatiest preset of all game, the Stockton. Maybe could have been something, but it was just a bit too far off. Harun Boone going for another one of those mechanical plays that, like you said, they're known for, forcing the team back on the defense. Shoko almost getting that shot on target as well, not credited by the game, but now getting those touches on the ball that are so important. Maybe gonna be able to push it through. Where is it? The Doomsday dish almost coming in, but not quite there. And you've got to wonder, Washington are getting a lot of opportunities, and yes, I know they're up, but CAVA could score a couple of goals anytime. And you've got to wonder, are they going to regret not scoring those?
Well, if they keep getting opportunities, I don't think so, because they're wasting clock and getting chances at putting in the 3rd. Right now, California are finding themselves in weird positions on their goal line. That's not usually conducive to quick transitions and quick hits in the other end. And with every save they make, that's about 5 fewer seconds to put a goal in on the other end. This is a good chance. Center ball. Where's the shooter? It's Jan, and oh, there we go. A quick hit. They were awkward, but they found a way to turn it into a fast transition play, proving me wrong, and he is back within 1.
There it is. It was all about Jan. Gets the 50 into the corner. Perfect read. The triple commit from the side of Washington doesn't exactly help their case in the defense. And like you said, with about 40 seconds to go now, it's a 1-goal game. Could be anyone's to take Washington still with the advantage, but it could be gone in a matter of seconds. Now, California, they can't afford to spend that much time in their own half because they need to score at least 1 to force that overtime. That could grant them their first game victory, and the more time that goes by, the more time that is wasted by players on both sides, the slimmer their chances become.
That's a nice slow play from Shoko, taking up the sidewall instead of forcing a one-timer that probably gets saved and turned into a clear, but clear is found. Jan, that was Inception to open up the back line potentially, but not accounting for Shoko, who just ends the game with a simple air dribble. It's been the mantra for Washington. Air dribble until there's nothing left in defense to block us. 9 shots to show for that one. Only a 1-goal win. California, efficient, 1 for 2 there, but ultimately wasn't enough, and now they have to reverse sweep in a best of 7, which we all know how difficult that is.
Oh, you said it perfectly right there. We all know how difficult it is. And right now, Washington, they are being just that tiny little bit better. They need to be. That play at the end, I think, shows it very well. They had that 1-goal advantage. They had the ball in their possession. Shoko with the air dribble tries, I was gonna say, to go for the flip reset, or at least that's what it looks like, but instead just lets the ball drop. The fake is perfect. All 3 players in the team participating in it. You can see the coordination is on point, and when a team is playing this well, we called it the hive mind before, it's gonna be very, very difficult to beat them. But if anyone can make this a crazy playoff run, even crazier than it already has been, it is definitely CAVA.
Inception, very quiet in game 3, only 88 points thereabouts in the third game. Oh, just 80, sorry. That's, I think, fine for Washington. The fact that one of their best players is having a quiet go of it in a game that they still won, still came out on top of. Now, if they can wake up in game 4, Washington can put this series to bed. California better be careful of that. Inception has had a pair of decent looks at a go-ahead goal early on in this one that they've not quite been able to turn in. They need to be cautious, but as long as they can turn it into clears and chances on the other side, they'll be all right. But Shoko snatches up what was a half chance for California and turns it into a transitional score for WAVA.
And that is back-to-back games, or at least 2 games already in this series, where the first goal actually for Washington has come on the counterattack. An overcommit from California on the offense. Maybe not an overcommit in the traditional sense. They're just positioned a bit too far forward, maybe expecting a bit more effectiveness from their teammates. I can't really tell you what happened, but in the end, the transition, like you said, it's just so fast from WAVA that there is no possible chance for a reaction. Once again, they have the lead, and I believe in the entirety of the series, they've had the lead 3 times, and they have never lost, of course. We know that 3-0 scoreline is up there. So it's going to take something special from CAVA to come back, especially if Inception gets that one not quite, but very, very close.
All games have been 1-goal games. Washington has never been able to turn those leads that you mentioned into romps. It's been close in the first 3 games of this series, and it's still close. 90 seconds in, Washington has only been able to score that 1 time. And California, they've hit in transition a couple of times. It's a good demo. Action Jackson diving in, though, and allows Washington a big clear. But Jan collects that clear and puts it right back into their offensive end. California, try as they might, they're getting decent chances and scaring Washington just a little bit, but it's not been enough thus far.
Yeah, and Washington, they just look so much better right now than California. We're talking about it, the strategy from California, it looks solid, stay on the defense, then play in the offense, the counterattack. But staying in the defense, we said it before, I'll never stop saying it because it still rings true, is a good strategy when you're not getting scored on. But Washington's attack right now, it looks better than California's defense. They are just able to push the ball, to push their cars through. And even if it's not a conventional occasion, even if it's not a conventional opportunity, they are able to put it in. But maybe, as I was saying that the tactic doesn't work, Jan on the counter attack with, I believe it was Action Jackson on the assist. They get one back, they tie it up.
Washington's been playing a little overconfident throughout this game 4. I think comfortable with any kind of lead, as they've been kind of double committing and fighting over who's going to take the ball next. Confident in their ability to come back should they go down, and I suppose for good reason. Harun Boone and Shoko don't even blink before scoring the go-ahead goal for the 2nd time in this game, and just like that, the equalizer never happened.
Oh, you hate to see it, the defensive mistake coming in from California. I guess it's just Castor Skurs again. We start praising their defense. They get scored on, but now they do know that they are capable of scoring. It's been very hard for them to do so in the past 2 games. But in this one, they found the equalizer with enough time to get ahead. It ended up not being the case, but now that they are once again coming in from behind, they know they've got plenty of time. They can do it. 2 minutes, a bit less now to go. Still very much in the hands of CAVA to bring this to overtime, but Washington, they're not going to want any of that.
Shoko all alone here. It's 2v2 in transition. Jan looking for the double, spikes it down, could dish it in, but it's a tough read regardless. Almost 2-2 with 90 seconds left in game 4. California still hunting to stay alive right here. I mean, this is their season. They dropped this game. Their season ends. Top 4, yes, but I know these players are competitors. They want that 3rd place medal, and they want the bronze. And they need at least 2 more if they're going to stay alive. But Washington, here they come marching forward. Harun Boone, the captain, makes it a 2-goal lead.
And it's been Inception sometimes, it's been Shoko sometimes, or Dark Knight, but the one that's always there, it's gonna be Harun Boone. I think the most goals out of any of the members of the series from WAVA or CAVA. It's just so important to have a player like that, so predominant in your team. It just gives you some kind of advantage that the rest of the teams are not going to have, and now Shoko just making the snowball bigger.
Star power. It makes a huge difference in series where you need clutch players to make clutch plays. And we haven't needed those big 0-second goals that we saw in the Eastern region matchup, but we've needed some overtime goals. We've needed some late scores, late saves to stay in the lead from Washington, and they have provided. Starting to run away with game number 4, though, after spending so long. California just a step behind them, but within reach. We now see a 3-goal lead that kind of ballooned from that 1-goal affair we had going throughout this one. Washington 30 seconds away from a 3rd-place finish in the Central Western region this season.
They definitely want this when they can feel, they can taste the blood in the water, but maybe Jan is gonna try to get one back, denied by Harun Boone. The time keeps running low. Maybe this is the goal. No, off the post. Yeah, and that accuracy, it needed to be there, but it was just not meant to be. Now Inception trying to get the drop down pass from the backboard, but it's not gonna be there. It's mathematically impossible for the comeback to happen. They put the pedal to the metal, and metal is what they're gonna get. Washington Virtual Academy are gonna sweep this series for 3rd place. The podium, the bronze, is theirs.
Congratulations, Washington. They finished, I believe, I can't remember if they finished 1st or 2nd last season, but I know they were in the grand finals, and with the merger of the Central Western region, adding all those solid central teams, it made it difficult this season. But still, top 3 for Washington. They've been a staple of Stride Esports Rocket League for a couple of seasons now, and they capped their season off on a win, which is what I'm sure they would have liked after being relegated down to the 3rd-place match. But California, they got here for a reason. They're a solid team, and they kept that one close. I mean, that could have been a blowout series, but it was entertaining from the get-go.
Yeah, props to them. It was just that it slipped out of their grasp at the very end. But like you said, they played some great Rocket League. They played fantastic. They would have very easily deserved that 3rd-place medal. But unfortunately, only one can have it. So they're going to be top 4. Very decent placement for them, especially after you could say rocky regular season. They made that wonky playoff run. Definitely one for the ages. Definitely gonna be remembered. But at the end, fall a bit too short. GG's to both teams. It was some great Rocket League that we saw on display today, I think, in both regions.
That it was, but that does bring us to the closing of our show. Let's go through the weekly schedule one last time so you can remember what's coming up tomorrow. Of course, Valorant cap off their penultimate week, and that's what all these esports were rocking with this week. One best of 3 tomorrow for Valorant, and then next week it's championship week. League of Legends on Monday, chess on Tuesday, Wednesday Fortnite, Thursday Rocket League, which is crazy to say. This season has just flown by. And then, like I said, Valorant every Friday. But that does lead us to our goodbyes. Alligator, thank you for joining me in the booth today. Hopefully you had some fun.
Thanks for having me. It was absolutely fantastic to get a chance to cast with you. Thank you so much, as well to Rhino on production. It's been an absolute banger today, and I hope I can do it again. I don't know if I'm gonna have to submit, if I'm gonna become a regular. Fingers crossed, I guess. All I can say, thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much as well. I always like to say to the viewers, you're the ones who make this possible. So lots of kisses for you and love.
Absolutely. Thanks to the viewer. Thanks for everyone watching today. But that does it for this week of Stride Esports Rocket League. We'll see you tomorrow for Valorant and the next Thursday for Rocket League. Till then.